Yo, what's up, everybody? I hope you're all having a great day today. Now, today I'm gonna be talking about the new release game called Stellar Blade. It just dropped the last Friday, April 26th. Now, if you haven't heard about this game, essentially it takes place after the fall of humanity, and as you battle through the ruins of a desolated Earth, you uncover the mysteries of what really happened to the planet years ago. The main protagonist you play as, her name is Eve. She is a stranger to Earth. She has never been to Earth. And the reason for that is basically after humanity failed, the remaining survivors, they all just went to space. They formed something called the colony. And that's pretty much where she's from. So yeah, everything on Earth is new to her. She's very young, and she's just trying to uncover the deep mysteries of what happened to Earth and how did it get to where it is now. I really just wanted to make a video giving like pretty much my first impressions of the game and some of the strong key points of it and how it stands out from other video games. Now, obviously, I haven't beat the game yet. I would say I'm about 12 hours in, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm really enjoying the game so far. Now, pretty much in this video, I just showed some exploration gameplay and a few side missions because I didn't want to dive deep into spoilers. But there are a few small spoilers in here, not any ones that's too big. But if you don't want to see anything like nothing at all, then this is your warning. But the first thing I wanted to talk about is how polished this game feels. The world is like, it's so visually stunning, and it definitely feels like it's a PS5 game. The combat is amazing, very in-depth. It takes a lot of getting used to. As you can see in like the gameplay, I really want to master the combat. You know, you make a lot of errors early on with the perfect parrying and perfect dodging, but I know that once you master the combat, it's gonna feel so fluid, so nice, and all of that. Another thing I really like is the soundtrack in this game. Like, as you're exploring, there's like a background music that plays, a little soundtrack, and it honestly just hits. Like, it's really good, and it definitely makes the world and the exploration not feel boring and dull. On top of it already looking stunning enough. Another thing I really like about this game is the enemy variety and the enemy designs. Like, as you can see from some of the gameplay, some of the enemies I've been killing got some of the grossest designs and some of the most nastiest body features, and it makes killing them that much more satisfying. And like even some of the bosses, like the boss fights in this game, like I don't even know how they be coming up with some of these designs, but it honestly just hits. Like, just take a look at this one for example. Like he look like some kind of Incredible Hulk with I don't even know how to describe his head. Is like, just look at it. Like, one thing I love about video games is when I get sidetracked, when there's so many things to do. Like, oh, I want to do this side mission before I continue the story, or oh, I want to explore this area of the map first, or I want to find more collectibles, or anything like that. This game does a phenomenal job at just doing that alone. Like, it's so much you can do in this game that doesn't involve the main story, and you get sidetracked a lot, and it honestly get addicting at times. Like, there are a lot of collectibles to find, and you get rewarded for exploring different areas. You know, like sometimes you can find treasure chests which contain like gear parts that you can use to upgrade. You can find different outfits for Eve, also from Lily and Adam, who I also forgot to mention are two amazing side characters who you meet early on in the game. And there's another thing I forgot to mention is the characters in general in this game. They're very likable, and you know you build a bond with them fast, and they help you on your adventure. Adam and Lily, they some of your day ones in this game, and I mess with them heavy. Another collectible you can find are these soda cans. They are scattered around different regions of the map. There are 49 of them, and these are pretty much like the main collectibles in the game. Every now and then you'll come across one and you'll find one. And you probably wondering, like, soda cans, like, why would anybody want to collect soda cans? And that goes back to Eve. She's like I said before, she's new to Earth, and she finds these soda cans interesting. And it's honestly pretty funny that they chose soda cans of all things, but it's completely understandable. And she even does this little animation whenever you pick them up, like, she gets all excited to get it and makes you want to find more of them. Now, speaking of regions, regions in this game are pretty much like what they use to differentiate the maps. They're like small but big areas. It's a couple different ones. I think I only found like four of them, but I literally know it's way more. Now, if you play games like God of War, the recent God of War games, you will already be familiar with how the map works. You got different maps. They're all decent size. A lot of different collectibles, enemies got their own vibes, and it's pretty much the same concept with this. Each map in this game has its own distinct vibe, its own distinct soundtrack, which I think is pretty nice. The fact that there's different soundtracks for the maps make them stand out more, and this game does a great job of making each map feel different from one another. They even have their own not same, but they even have their own different enemies, like these robots I just fought. This area here is called the Wasteland. As you can see, it's in the desert. It has a lot of scrap and shit everywhere, and robots and little small parts. You know how wastelands be. But that's essentially what this is. And each district has its own side missions and everything, so it gives you a reason to come back to these districts even after you have completed the main missions in the area. And I think that's a good way to give you a reason to come back. So far from the regions I've seen, they're all beautiful, and like they really do remind you that you are playing a PS5 game. And some of these regions even have their own side boss fights, which I think is incredible. Like, you don't even these bosses ain't even mandatory. You can just come across them by doing little side missions that are in the region, and you can get some good shit from them. In this clip here, I was doing a little side mission, which led me down to this area, which I didn't even know was gonna happen. This literally led me into a side boss fight, and honestly thought it was pretty cool.
So, this must be the partner.
Then something must have been here.
Look!
This also leads me into the next thing I wanted to talk about, and that's just how amazing the boss fights are in this game. Like, they all feel so engaging and intense, and with the amazing soundtrack that plays between all of it, makes you really feel like it's a lot on the line. And as I mentioned before, some of these bosses have some of the most grotesque designs, like for any creature I've ever seen. As you can see from him, like using big balls as his paws, first of all, but using big balls as his as his hands, and he big as hell, and like it makes you really question like what goes through some of the developer's mind, but. This was honestly a good boss fight, and another thing about these boss fights is you can tackle these boss fights in any way you want because the combat in this game is so vast and in-depth. Like, you can approach these boss fights in any way you want. Like, you don't have to fight the same way, do the same things. You got so many options at your disposal. You can pretty much just fight how you want, which is amazing. Some of these bosses also do prove like a worthy challenge. Like, you can catch yourself dying a couple times and having to memorize the attacks, and that's pretty much with any boss fight. But I honestly feel like the good thing about this game, the fun part about the boss fights in this game is learning the attacks, the boss's attacks, because it gets so satisfying when you learn a perfect parry and perfect dodge 'em. And I honestly wish they would add like a boss rush mode where you can just replay boss fights so you can master them, because the boss fights in this game do get addicting. Like, even when I do beat the bosses, sometimes I don't even be satisfied if I took a lot of damage or if I feel like I didn't do good enough, and it makes me want to replay it. Every time I know a boss fight is coming, I'm always intrigued to see what it's gonna look like and how the design gonna look, because it's always interesting just to see what the developers come up with, because it seems like the next boss fight is always better than the last one, and it honestly just, like I said, keep me intrigued. Now, this boss fight is from the story and it does contain spoilers, so I'm gonna put a timestamp to skip if you don't want to see it. But yeah, this boss fight was definitely my favorite one so far, and it was the most intense. It definitely got me a few times, but it ended up beating it. The soundtrack was amazing, everything was amazing, and honestly, it was just going forward. Hopefully, the bosses are just as good as this one, if not better. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about in this video were the side missions. Now, I previously did mention how the side missions did bring you back to previous regions, which I think is honestly amazing, and it gives you a chance to go back to the regions to get back and collect anything you missed. And as beautiful as these regions are, I'm always happy to return to them. Now, everything you seen from the video, outside of that one story spoiler boss fight, everything has pretty much just been side missions and me just going around exploring and doing side missions or whatnot. And I honestly think this is a great way to pace yourself through the game. Having side missions that are in depth can keep you occupied, not have you only playing the story. And it's pretty good for those like me who don't want to rush through games and beat them real fast and, speed run and all that. Now, there are two types of side missions you can do in this game. One are just regular requests from strangers out in the city, and the other is from this bulletin board that I'm in front of, and pretty much you just collect requests from people around the city. The city is called Zion. It's like, one of the last remaining cities with people, and you pretty much just accept quests from this place. Where I'm heading now is an example of a request from a stranger that I had recently completed. He wanted me to go look for his buddy or some shit, I forgot. But I completed it, and you see he's sad because his buddy gone. And he gonna give me some rewards or something. And these are also scattered around the city. They got little exclamation marks on the map. You just pick them up and you do the quest. And when you finish with the quest, you come back to them, tell them what happened, and they give you a reward. Alright guys, so I really just wanted to give my thoughts on the game so far and give a quick little review and my first impressions. I highly recommend this game if you're looking for like a third-person action adventure, God of War-esque type game, Ghost of Tsushima, maybe Ghost of Tsushima, probably. I wouldn't say this game is like Ghost of Tsushima, but Ghost of Tsushima is an amazing game. But I highly recommend this game if you want to keep yourself invested with a lot of different activities to do in the world. Decent story length, great combat, great characters, great graphics, great world building, great everything. I know I just spent like the past 15 minutes just glazing this game, but it's honestly a masterpiece. Can't wait to hop back in, continue more of the story, unlock some new shit. And yeah, I highly recommend it. I know some people don't like paying $70 for a game, so if you don't want to get it $70, definitely get it on sale. But yeah, definitely leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, and drop a sub if you want to see more videos and reviews like this. Leave a comment if you're playing the game. Let me know your thoughts on the game, and let me know if this review piqued your interest in the game, or if you might get it on sale or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. It's been Kai, and I'm out. Peace.